Yep, go on, way up north to Alaska, we're going north, the rush is on. I said north to Alaska, we're going north, the rush is on. Big Sam left Seattle in the year of '92 with George Pratt, his partner, and brother Billy too. While they crossed the Yukon River out the Bonanza Gold, below that old white mountain just a little southeast of home. While Sam crossed the mountains, the valleys far below. While they talked to his team of huskies as they mushed on through the snow. With the northern lights running wild in the land of the midnight sun, Sam McCord was a mighty man in the year of '91. Where the river is wide and big nuggets are finding. North to Alaska, we're going north, the rush is on. Way up north
to Alaska,
way up north
to Alaska,
north to Alaska, we're going north, the rush is on. We're going north
to Alaska,
we're going north, the rush is on. Well, George turned to Sam with his gold in his hand. Said, Sam, you're looking at a mighty lonely man. I'd trade all the gold that's buried in this land for one small ring of gold to place on my sweet little Jenny's hand. 'Cause a man needs a woman to love him all the time. Remember, Sam, a true love is so hard to find. What I'd build for my Jenny, a honeymoon home, just way out there by that white mountain, 23 miles from home. River is winding, nuggets they're finding. North to Alaska, we're going north, the rush is on. I said north to Alaska, we're going north, the rush is on. Way up north,
to Alaska,
way up north,
to Alaska,
way up north,
to Alaska,
way up north,
to Alaska.
way up north. Oh yeah. Get things started, we're going to be doing some mountain music. We're Rex and Bernie from Phoenix, Arizona. We're glad to be up in some cooler country. When we left, it was 106. So now it's feeling good. Chilkat Mountain music, here we go. Play me some mountain music like Grandma and Grandpa used to play. Yeah. Then I'll float on down the river to a Cajun hideaway.
Drift away like Tom Sawyer, ride a raft like Old Finn, take a nap like the best we go. There's a dream and again. Oh,
Play me some mountain music like Grandma and Grandpa used to play. Then I'll float on down the river to a Cajun hideaway. Gonna get me a raft and go down that Salmon River. Yeah. And if the temperature's right, I might even try swimming across it. Temperature's never right to swim across the Salmon River, I'll tell you. Here we go. Gonna swim across the river just to prove that I'm a man. Spend the day being lazy, just being nature's friend. Climb a long tall hickory, bend it over, skin it cash, play baseball with jerk rocks, using sawmill backwards hat. place just back home. Come on, music.
Watch out for the
That
corner.
comes from my heart. Play something with lots of feeling, 'cause that's where music has to start.
Oh yeah!
Oh, play me some mountain music, like Grandma and Grandpa used to play. And I'll float on down the river to the Cajun hideaway. Hey, hey,
Yeah, here we go! Do-si-do! Come on, let's do some dancing! Come on, you still
Come
got
on,
some
kids,
minutes,
get out here and dance.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Do some mountain music dancing.
oh, play me some mountain music. Oh, play me some mountain music. Oh, play me some mountain music. Oh, play, yeah, yeah.
I think I'll do some dancing. That's called solo dancing because I ain't got no parts here. All right.
Oh,
Well, I'll do a little Tulsa time stuff. Band, are you ready? Them boys are still trying to tune those instruments up, you know what I mean? I picked them up over in Hoona. Not Union. All right, now we're going. You got it, boys. Well, I left Oklahoma, driving in a Pontiac, just about to lose my mind. I was going to Arizona, maybe on to California, where the people all live so fine. Well, my mama says I'm crazy, and my baby says I'm lazy, but I'm gonna show them all this time. Oh yeah, 'cause you know I ain't no fooling, and I don't need no more schooling. I was born into the wall tonight. Yeah, now I'm living on Tulsa time. You know I'm living on Tulsa time. Gonna set my watch back to it, 'cause you know that I've been through it. Now I'm living on Tulsa time. All right. You're doing good, boys. Keep playing like that, I'll give you rabies. There I was in Hollywood, thinking I was doing good, talking on the telephone line. They don't want me in the movies, and nobody sings my song. My mama says my baby's doing fine. So then I started winking, and then I started thinking that I really had a flash this time. That I had no business leaving, and nobody would be grieving if I got back on that Tulsa time. So now I'm living on Tulsa time. You know I'm living on Tulsa time. Gonna set my watch back to it, 'cause you know that I've been through it. Now I'm living on that Tulsa time. I believe I'll sing that again. Living on Tulsa time. Oh yeah. You know I'm living on Tulsa time. Gonna set my watch back to it, 'cause you know that I've been through it. Now I'm living on that Tulsa time. All right. Well, there I was in Hollywood, thinking I was doing good, talking on the telephone line. But they don't want me in the movies, and nobody sings my songs. But mama says my baby's doing fine. So then I started winking, and then I started thinking, well, I think I have a flash this time. That I had no business leaving, and nobody would be grieving if I went back to that Tulsa time. So now I'm living on Tulsa time. you know I'm living on toast and time. Gonna set my watch back to it, cause you know that I've been through it. Now I'm living on that toast and time. Oh yeah! Thank you very much. Woo! We thought we'd get a few songs going that would help wake you up if you needed it after a big hamburger and hot dog and all that stuff. We don't get to eat until after we get through singing, see? So we're going to have lots of energy. You know, I'm thinking we're going to slow it down a little bit. John Denver music, Back Home Again. I remember back in the days when I was just a small kid and I got to meet some of you here that were there at that time. And it's great to make acquaintances with old friends. They're now grown up. They knew you as a kid. And we lived in Dad's cabin over there along the road, Gustavus Road, and we had a wind-up phone on the wall that actually worked, 2 rings, and it would call the lodge, which was then the Riverside Lodge. Now it's Gustavus Inn. 1 ring, and you'd get my Aunt Nell and Uncle Glenn. And we had a hand pump in the sink, rain barrel outside to catch soft water for sponge baths, and we had a gas-operated generator for the lights, and I always got the duty to suck gas into that thing through a hose, and first 3 times I wasn't too successful. I swallowed more than got into the generator, and if you've never been for an hour or 2 coughing up gas fumes out of your mouth, you don't know how bad that can be. But the lights would start to go out, and when the gas went out, and everybody would be scrambling to get into bed before the generator turned off, out of gas, and there's no lights. So that was the time we had. There were no stores, no clinics, there were nothing here but just homesteaders. I think about 100 people maybe. So it's grown a lot since then. It's good to be back here, and I want to do a song for you that kind of talks about being back home again. We're going to kind of feature that kind of theme this first set, and John Denver with Back Home Again. There's a storm across the valley, clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulder. Well, there's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. Well, the whining of its wheels just makes it colder. You know he's an hour away from riding on your prayers up in the sky. And 10 days on the road are barely gone. Well, there's a fire softly burning and supper's on the stove. Strawberry Point, and Lovely Day in Paradise. Going to do a couple of original songs back to back that talk about home. And this is from an original track we recorded some decades ago. So we didn't have an instrumental backup track. You'll actually hear me singing on it, so I'm going to be singing over myself. This is the first time I've done lip syncing on Rex Parker. And I hope the guy on the record doesn't mess up. I'm really going to lean on him for the words right. But this song is home. It reminds me of so much of the special times I had with my dad and my mom. Dad and I'd go fishing. He got a big 33-foot fin trawler, and we'd go out fishing, and never saw him look so young and happy than when he was in there trolling for fish. One day I was just kind of the bottle washer cook and so forth, you know. I got kind of restless, so I took the small boat down, the safety boat, and I lashed it to the rear and tied about a 15-foot line on it and let it out. Put the oars under the seat, lashed them to the seat, and put some lines on it, and laid back and waited for something to happen. And so we're trolling along outside Pleasant Island on Icy Straits, and I fell asleep. A little bit, I woke up and thought, oh my goodness, I better check my lines. So I went over here and I checked the line on the right oar. Oh, nope, nothing on that yet. I went over here and checked the line on the left oar. Oh, I got something going on that one. And so I hauled it in, and my goodness, I had a 15-pound coho that was so dead tired of being dragged all over Icy Straits before he finally got out the water and into the boat. But I caught the biggest fish that day. Here's Dad with a 33-foot trawler, you know, and I got the biggest fish that day, and I was so proud of myself. And wasn't always that lucky. I remember once I was fishing off of the bridge down here, and I decided I'd get real modern and get fishing gear instead of using my 5-prong spear, spearing them on the side of the lake, the river. And so I got a dolly barton on the bridge, and I got them over on the shore, which there wasn't a bank on the shore there at that time. And then I set my pole down and ran down the bridge, ran down to the shore to take the fish and get the hook out of his mouth. And so there's two hooks there that haven't gone into anything yet. Well, when he flopped real hard, one hook went into my finger, including the barb. So now both of us are flopping around. The fish caught me, and I was panicking. I think I was about 11, 12 years old, and I was freaking out because, you know, there's nobody for miles. Well, Gene Chase, who was then postmaster at the post office, which is an old schoolhouse at that time, converted to a post. He heard me, came out, rescued me, and my dad played surgeon, clipped the end of the hook on the staff of the hook, and then he ran the hook through my finger so he could get a hold of the barb and then pull the rest of it out. You're getting kind of squeamish right now and not really an appetite for your dessert. I'm sorry, I apologize. But that's where you had to do it. There were no doctors or anything like that. Everything you had to fix it yourself. So I didn't look at fish for about another month or two. So we had a good time fishing though. Had a good time prospecting. I could tell you some tales about that too, but one of the things that I remember most is back in 1967, I was in the Army 2 years at Fort Benning, Georgia, and then I got called to Vietnam. They gave me 2 weeks to come back here to Gustavus. And I'll never forget that day when that little plane, it's time to leave, and that little plane lifted off of the airfield. And I looked back through the window down below, and I saw my little family, my dad, mom, and everybody waving goodbye to me. And I was waving back at him, and I knew what we were both thinking, wondering if we'd ever see each other again, if I ever made it back from Vietnam. Well, thank God I made it back and had a chance to come back home and see Gustavus and see a lot of things that I really missed for those years. So I want to do this song called Home, and then after that is also another song of mine we're going to go into. It's called Daddy Was a Preaching Man. I hope you enjoy it. Wandering down that long and long good times that we had. Living was so easy back when I was just a lad. Then my good times ended when I got the urge to roam. 20 years of drifting, now I'm far away from home. Home, gotta get up and go back home. Home, gotta go back where I belong. Good times that we had. Living was so easy back when I was just a lad. Then my good times ended when I got the urge to roam. 20 years of drifting, now I'm far away from home. Home, gotta get up and go back home. Memories of Dad and home.
Look at you.
We're going to take our hands away now. Tell you a story about my daddy. He was a preaching man. My daddy was a preaching man. Went down in Louisiana land. He stood on a cotton bale, and he preached until you knew darn well he was a preaching man. My daddy was a preaching man. Preaching till the sun went down. Preaching every morning now. Every time you turned around, he was preaching. And gospel music filled the air. People singing everywhere. He was a preaching man. My daddy was a preaching man. Preaching till the sun went down. Preaching every morning now. Every time he turned around, he was preaching. Now when the music had been sung, well, the people would all sit down. Daddy got behind the word. For miles around his voice could be heard. He was a preaching man. My daddy was a preaching man. Preaching till the sun went down. Everybody preaching till the sun went down. Every time he turned around, he was preaching. So if you're down Louisiana way, Oh yeah, Daddy was a preaching man. Well, I kind of just made that up. My daddy wasn't a preacher, although he was a good prayer, I'll tell you that. He was one of the guys that prayed for the guys that went down on that plane back in 1957 that survived. We're going to do one more from John Denver. I don't know if she's here. I met a lady down at one of the cafes here. Tiana, I believe her name was, and she likes John Denver music, and she especially liked this song, so I said, well, I'll dedicate it to you. It's almost Take Me Home Country Roads, and so I'd like to sing this afternoon. Had a chance to meet John Denver in person back in the mid-70s at the Palladium Theater in Hollywood. They were doing the taping for the Country Music Awards program for celebrities only, and I snuck in there, got a back seat, and was looking at the goings-on. Pretty funny when you watch them tape it and things are falling over on stage and they have to do take 2, take 3, take 4, and it's broadcast later. It's a tape program. So I saw John Denver get up and walk up the aisle and walk past me into the foyer, and so in the lobby, and so I got up and went out there into the lobby and introduced myself, told him I loved playing his stuff. I was a DJ at that time on KFIR in Oregon. Got a chance to meet him. I love his music. I'd like to play this for you tonight, this afternoon, and I'll do it for you right now. Take Me Home, Country Roads.